Garry Kaiser, president of LB Smith Ford Lincoln. Garry, welcome to the show.
Hey, Sam, thanks for having me.
We appreciate you being here. Hey, for those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do there at LB Smith Ford Lincoln.
So currently I'm the president, general manager of LB Smith Ford Lincoln. It'd take me all day probably to tell you the whole journey, but as a young kid, 16 years old, I got into a little bit of a Y in the road, and I had to decide if I was going to go to an ROTC boot camp or find a job. And my teacher found me a job at LB Smith, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. You know, you find a family, and our owners, the Jordans, have believed in me and have allowed me to do every job from, when I started on a lot to a tech to a service advisor to a service manager, the whole way up through, and it's
So,
been a great ride.
so Garry, what would you say to those in the auto industry that say, hey, this industry is changing? And really, what was the American dream, which means somebody could come in at a young age like you did and realize unlimited potential? What would you say to that person that says, hey, the American dream in automotive is dead? Is it dead or is it still thriving, Garry?
Oh no, it's thriving. I still sit in interviews and hire young lads that, are looking for jobs, and they start on the lot or in quick lane or, one of our departments. And the next thing you know, they're selling cars. And it just, once you get into this industry, there's so many different careers under one rooftop. And it's just so exciting.
Yeah. Well, it's Fixed Ops Friday. You recently shared you've got a new mantra at your auto group for 2026. Share with us that mantra and how it came to be.
So it's so exciting, for us right now. We opened a Ford Pro Elite, 33,000 square foot, 26 bays. I mean, extra large bays for the commercial world. We
Yep.
grew that commercial business so much that we had to, build a building. And fixed ops has always been our backbone. I mean, we love fixed ops. We crush fixed ops. And this year, with moving so much gross out of our main shop, we had to figure out fixed ops again. And I thought, how are we going to do this in our fixed ops meeting? So we got 2026 is the year. So we named it 2020 Fixed, made t-shirts for
I
all the
love
units,
that.
because this is the year of fixed ops. I mean, fixed ops is 2026, and we got to figure it out. We're
2020 Fixed. I think that's a great rally cry for the entire auto industry. In fact, I have a personal ask. Will you send me? I'll pay you. I'll send you a check. I want one of those shirts. I
Yes,
want a
sir.
2020 Fixed shirt from you guys there
Yeah. So I
at
mean,
LB Smith.
they wear it on the weekends just to remind them that just when
Yeah.
we're not here, we still gotta. Our easy path is now something we got to recreate.
So that Ford Pro Elite Commercial Service Center, that's a major commitment. That's a big financial investment. What made you decide this was the right strategic move in 2026?
So we've been working on it for a couple years, and our commercial business, just grew out of control. And these commercial accounts, there's no one's taking care of them. They're waiting. That's their offices and that's their toolboxes, and they're sitting on lots and not getting repaired, right? So if you can turn them fast, it's low hanging fruit. I mean,
Yeah.
the commercial world doesn't really monitor the price of the repair. They monitor the time of the repair. So
What
we go ahead.
what why is it such an unmet need? Why did it pop up almost out of nowhere that created this opportunity that you're
Well,
capitalizing on?
it didn't pop up out of nowhere. We had a
Okay.
vision,
Okay.
we had a vision probably 2018 that this is what we wanted to chase, right? So one of my foremans and myself, we sat at Sheets, Wawa, Rudders every morning at 5:30, and we would write down everyone that was getting fuel that day. And
Yeah.
then we would go visit them and say, look, all we want is your warranty work. We know John's doing or whoever's doing your repairs, right? Just give us our chance at your warranty work. And then we're going to pick it up and deliver it, right? So this was before Ford even had pick up and delivery and mobile and all that. So once we created that team to pick up and deliver and allow them to keep their day going, it just grew and grew, that it was busting at the seams in our main shop, right? We got 37 stalls in our main shop, and it just was out of control.
Do you see the nature of that business or the demand there increasing, declining, staying flat? I mean, obviously you've invested planning for the increase, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely increasing. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so much out there. There's so many commercial and just the average Joe that has one landscaping vehicle that he's trying to make a paycheck for, right? To pay that.
What does a typical commercial customer relationship look like compared to a retail one?
So it's a good question. You know, when we were building this building, we're like, well, we really don't need a waiting room because we go pick them up and they don't come in, right? Or they drop off. So the commercial customers, you know, they all they care about is getting their vehicle back because their tools are in that vehicle to fix what they need to fix.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we're going to go into the comments. Angelica Surprise says 2020 fixed. I think she's picking up off your rally cry. 2020 fixed. Props to Angelica. And then Eager K comes into the text with an update from a Mannheim auction. It says, "Good afternoon, fellas. Just got done with auction today at Mannheim, New England. Had a great day. Big engine vehicles are getting dumped by dealers. Gas prices scare is going on right now." And I think that's in reference to the stuff going on in Iran, the impact on oil overnight. Price of crude oil shot up, and there's some uncertainty out there. And I would argue that we're going to see a little bit of a shift as we have at other periods of time when the price of oil has been a little bit under pressure. You probably don't have a big opinion on what that's going to look like from your vantage point, but do you foresee a little bit less demand on gas engines and maybe even a little bit more EV in our future? Anything you want to say on that as breaking news from Eager K at the auction?
Are you asking me if I want to say
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah,
that?
yeah. You want to
Well, that's a loaded
get
question.
political?
No, that's a loaded question for me. I pass on that question with
All
the
right, fair enough. Fair
young.
enough. Fair enough. All right. So, one thing that you've talked about in your intake form is you talked about working the service lane to acquire vehicles. How big of an inventory source is the service lane in March of 2026? And what's your process to capitalize on that?
So we're just dipping our big toe into that because everywhere we go, I mean, NADA, the two biggest seminars were acquiring vehicles, used car vehicles, and retaining techs, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, we're servicing probably an average of 150 to 60 cars a day, right? We're the only ones bidding on that car, right?
Yeah.
And I know this is the new wave going on out there, but it's true. If when and we kind of put a team together to do it, and we're stumbling a little bit, right? And it's just as you know, before you walk, you crawl, and that's where we're at. But we're getting some great success, and some of the stories that I listen to at NADA, these guys are really acquiring a lot of cars out of their service lane. And,
Yeah.
you know, it depends on your retention. Like our store has a huge retention. I mean, our customers trust us. They've been coming here since, you know, you hear it in the service lane, the 60s, the 70s. And, you know, it's great because you have their service records. You know, you're not buying a car, you know that you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to figure that out.
So I think a lot of stores are, and in fact, service lane acquisition is one of those things you almost hear as a buzzword. Everybody's talking
Yeah.
about it. Not everybody's figured it out. We'd love to hear from our listening audience in the text. We'll bring those comments in. As you're thinking about it and you're starting to create that process, what does the process look like? Who's conducting those appraisals? How often are you executing on those? And then how many vehicles are you picking up on an average month since you began?
So, great question. So we've switched gears a couple times. We thought maybe one of our used car managers would sit down there and start having the conversations, and you know, but our clients, you know, we have such great relationships. Our clients didn't know our used car managers, so
Yeah,
we
yeah,
thought
yeah.
our senior advisors would be the ones to say, "Hey, Sam, today when you're in here today, how about a complimentary appraisal on your vehicle?" You know,
Yeah.
and that really seems to be getting traction. Now we just started it about a month ago. I think we bought maybe 8 to 10 cars out of there so far.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
you know, so but a lot of appraisals and a lot of tire kicking. We're planting seeds, and you know, in this business, a lot of things you do, you don't get instant results.
Yeah. So transitioning from the used car acquisition piece, which I do believe in, I think you can have a major impact on used cars overall dealership profitability. You've opened this new commercial center and you've talked about backfilling the main shop. What does backfilling the main shop look like in March of 2026 after you've opened this huge commercial service center there at Ford?
So what our plans are are to start. We struggle with transmission repairs in the Ford world, and any Ford dealers out there listening would probably say, yeah, that's a true statement. So we are actually creating a transmission shop inside of our shop that we're going to
Yeah.
expand, and a lot of our Ford dealers around us are a month out for transmissions, and then you got
Hmm.
loaners, and it really puts a bind on your business. So we're going to expand, like have like an internal transmission shop for all makes and models inside of our dealership. And of course, we're trying to buy more used cars. Instead of running the used cars through the main shop, we're going to have a used car recon center. So a lot of good, exciting plans. We have a vision. We just got to get there.
Yeah, yeah. And truly in 2026, fixed stops is a big opportunity in operations. You've capitalized on the commercial side. We reported last year, 2025, Ford is the number one most recalled OEM. How are you meeting customer demand and needs for those recalls? Are you involved in mobile service? Um, is there anything you're doing different in your organization to help create a great customer experience for those customers that are going through recalls and or routine warranty service?
In the Ford world, Ford has pressed mobile pickup and delivery, and we got 5 mobile vans, 3 really running. So are we doing anything different? I wouldn't say anything different or stands out compared to all the other Ford dealers in our world. Just it's got to be its own business. I mean, it's got to have its own advisor, its own, that's got to
Yeah.
be a little iceberg off the big iceberg, and it's got to run like that, or you're constantly, looking and searching, trying to figure out how it works.
Yeah. Ford has done a lot in terms of supporting the program with factory money with mobile service. Are you guys all in on mobile service? How many mobile units do you have, or are you doing more pickup delivery work?
So we do a lot of both. We're not some of the superstores that are out there, but we do well with it. We have 5 vans, but we only have 3 running at this time. And pickup and delivery, I think we have 8 porters in the morning, 8 porters in the afternoon, and clients love it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great. I mean, all manufacturers, it's easy CSI.
So going into the text, Eager K says every dealership should have at least 2 dedicated transmission experts on hand that do nothing but transmissions. Eager says, I agree. And then BDN Ghost 69 says, what do service managers and advisors think about? This is a question for you, Gary. What do service managers and advisors think about possibly losing customers and selling less hours when cars are bought in the service lane? So one of the tricks to used car acquisitions and services, what do you do with the revenue lost to the service department when we snag it as a used car, sell them a newer vehicle, Gary?
So, we're a month into it, and I think out of the ones that we acquired, 75% of them bought a new car. So,
Hmm.
it's a great question. We're pretty fortunate in service that, our flow is pretty strong. But, we haven't got to that point where we said, hey, we're going to hurt our service department, because you got to keep it all going, right? You got to keep
Yeah.
everything rolling.
All right, Gary, as we wrap up, and then we're going to bring you back for the roundtable at the very end, a lightning round, if you will. If there's a dealer listening today, Gary, that says, hey, I want to grow service revenue 20% this year in 2026, in your opinion, where should they start? What's starting grounds for that 20% boost in service revenue?
Hands down, commercial.
Yeah.
There's so much of it out there. It's higher labor rate. They fix their vehicles. You don't, half the time you're not even waiting on OKs. I mean, you just need them fixed, and it's so strong. Such the
Yeah.
low hanging fruit of our business.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting that that it's been under it's a need that's been undermet, and you've executed on strategy to go after it. Gary Kaiser, president of LB Smith Ford Lincoln. We appreciate having you on the show today. Thanks for joining to share your perspectives. We'll have you back as part of the lightning round at the very end. Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, thank you.